You thought it was going to drop, didn't you? Well, it's going to in the end when the full thing is played through. But hello and welcome to the Hat Chat. Hat Chat.
It's hot.
Fucking hell, someone else intro this week.
Good day and welcome to the Hat Chat podcast. We're joined by some beautiful voices here. My voice is the voice of Ross Hornby. What's your voice from?
Today I've chosen the voice of Alex Smith.
Nice.
And I'll be taking over most of the speaking responsibilities for Chris Trott. Hi, my name's Chris Trott. I'm also here.
Nice.
Thank God.
And that fingle was from the very talented Andrew Vaughan. This is Alex Smith speaking again now. Thank you for that, Andrew Vaughan. Very good. Reminiscent of sort of a thrice kind of sound, which I'm very much a big fan of. So that was really cool. Back to Chris Trott. Let's see if he's got any of those letters in order right now.
I thought you were going to imitate me.
I see. Sorry.
I thought you were passing it back to yourself.
Yeah, I can imagine that getting quite old and confusing.
Yeah. But hello and welcome. This is episode 79, would you believe?
I can't believe
you
it.
could say it's the penultimate one, only if we were stopping at 80, which we're not.
But if that were the case,
you could always say that. You could call this penultimate. Let's always tease that this could be the one before the last.
This could be the last.
You never know. Although I don't know when we're breaking for Christmas, so yeah, we'll see.
That's true. Until then, we are going strong, and we have no reason to stop next week. So
none whatsoever.
No.
Why don't we just go straight into the fact that Patreon has kindly voted on some thought-provoking questions of the week. Whether they're strong or not depends, really, if I found some good ones or not. So we'll see.
Who can say? Who can say? Well, I'll tell you who can say. I can say. The first Patreon hypothetical for this week is you can have everything you have ever wanted or an extra life on Earth where you came back remembering it all. What would you choose and why?
I mean, I imagine it's quite a traumatizing thing to have remembered your entire previous life. I'm guessing not in just like in another life I did this. It's more of a you remember everything, right? So you know all the people that you once knew. You could go up to them, walk up to them. They wouldn't know who you are now. Is that not a traumatizing thing? Would you imagine, or is it more like I've got a second chance? It depends on how shitty your life was, I guess, to get to you to that point. But as in in terms of knowledge, as in knowing things, it would be great to start on a 33-year head start of knowledge. If I died,
is that the thing? Do we die at 33 or do we die
I don't know.
As an older person, because if it is
lived through that, so we don't know. I guess.
I mean, like you say, though, it is. I guess the big quandary here is
your family aren't your family anymore.
If you do have to give it up, let's say we have to give it up at this age. Yeah, you are literally saying goodbye to everything good in your life.
And remembering that.
Well, yeah, and remembering that. And I guess it really depends on your current circumstances, because I guess that's really the measure of it. It's like, would I do this all again? If that's a yes, then you might not have enough good or happiness in your life, I don't know. It's hard. My first instincts was definitely go for another life, an extra life.
That was your first. You thought, let's get another go, and then
because
I don't. It's a roll of the dice, though. It really is.
What?
Because you don't really know your circumstances, what country you'll appear in. I mean, it's just literally exactly the same. You're back in Somerset, but those aren't
exactly. So your circumstances do matter. Yeah. From a fun point of view, from if I knew that I was going to have my life, my nice life that I've had this time round, I would say right, I'd like to become old, and then I'll get another go in the same life, because that would be amazing fun, because you would know all of the things, all of the right decisions,
I guess you would go down the opposite paths. Where you'd be able to. I've done that. I know that. So now, and also you'll take more risks, because you're like, well, I'm, when you're, I don't know, maybe at school or whatever, and you're a bit more clean nosed in the sense you behaved yourself. Maybe you could take, you could be a bad boy, because you could be like, well, fuck it. Like, I realize that this actually means nothing later on.
You actually have a really shit life because you go off the rails.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna really ruin.
I messed this one up.
I'm gonna try and be one of those dickheads that's going to see where that takes me.
Yeah.
And that, maybe that path is a negative one. Maybe it's good. Maybe you form different bonds with people, or become a different person entirely. I don't know.
I think, personally, knowing that you've had an entire life and you've already been an adult, to then be a child again and be surrounded by other children and growing up again, knowing that I've already grown up before and I've already been through these like prepubescent years of immaturity, surrounded by people making really stupid, dumb stuff, jokes, and stealing pumpkins from the farmers next to the schools thing, and like I've literally lived to the age of 80 and died, and now I guess it might be quite refreshing to be a child again and get away with being a child.
That's a good point. You would get annoyed with the people around you because I think you're like, well, I'm more mature.
Like, grow up!
There's a documentary, there's a few documentaries of these kind of savant kids who know what they're like. They're reading like 1 million books a day or whatever, and it's just like they just won't hang out with the other kids because they're too dumb. They're like they're actual children, and I'm like, well, what if they've actually come back?
Yeah.
What they've journeyed back and we don't know, and they're just like,
conspiracy.
They're just really, they're just smart. They're just a bit ahead of the curve.
They've had a life already.
They've gone.
Warning!
Life already.
Misinformation warning. This is hypothetical. This is hypothetical.
It is a complete hypothetical idea.
Don't trying to censor him.
Don't censor me. Come on. These are real things. They're happening.
These are
you
spies.
Read as many books in a day, kid. Go out and play with all your friends.
Ross's fear of the intelligent is as old and ancient as the when the scientists and doctors were persecuted as witches.
Yeah, well, it gives you a chance to certainly kind of, I don't know, I guess learn more, which is good. The beginning of that is you can have everything you ever wanted, which I also think is kind of, like, if you suddenly just had everything you ever wanted now. You're working towards that, but as in, like, what's next?
What if everything you ever wanted was a challenge in life?
You're content, but then, like, it's just like, I think that there is something to be said about goals and having like things you want to reach, rather than just going, well, I've got everything. You don't appreciate it if you've got everything. It's like when we get sent a game, we don't appreciate that the way someone spent 60 quid on it.
But what if you could say, Ross, what I want in life,
but not in the same way.
What if you said, I want in life to live in humanity that is a multi-planet species, and suddenly that occurs? And like, fuck, I can visit multiple planets. I want to be part of a galactic senate where we have met other alien life forms, and we are having all conversations in English for some reason, because it's much easier. And I'm actually at the head of that. I'm making big galactic decisions for everybody. Yes, we should wipe out the Klargons.
The Klargons.
Oh shit, he said it.
I've only just learned of them.
The anti-Klargons. The anti-Klargon lobby today.
That's your day one.
Applauds High Lord Overlord Trott.
This is everything I could have ever wanted.
I am content. Kill them all. Every last one of them.
You just got to think bigger. If you think like, getting free games, it's a bit boring. I want to own the universe.
Really holding it into, I was holding it in the realms of my current reality.
I want the clangers to be real and still knitted, but another alien species.
And he wants to nuke them.
I want to nuke the shit out of them.
The clangers.
Push the button.
I think the everything you ever wanted thing is sometimes a curse. You hear all these stories about people who win the lottery and then like their entire relationships break down, their realities suddenly change into something that they just were never built for. And it's not.
You're saying I'm not built for being.
I'm saying
on
life's
the
more about
of
the people
Senate.
who are. No, I think it's about the people around you that make you more content than the things you can just acquire.
I want to be surrounded by yes men. In Downing Street.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that was interesting. I actually listened to the Always Sunny podcast where they were talking about yes men and how that's kind of like it can throw you off. You need someone to kind of put you into check sometimes. Otherwise, they were talking about like kind of when they come up with funny stuff, and it's just like if everyone's just saying, "Ha, that's all funny," you never really can adjust your work.
I don't think we have any fear of that.
Like fucking LA.
No, we don't.
We really don't have
but
any
like...
fear of that. Like that was shit. What you're saying
That
was
was
shit. Then you're not funny.
Okay.
It's like, or it's like we could try something else. But yeah, no, I mean, but like in places like LA and in places like, the States and stuff, we've even
it's
encountered
full of
people like that, where it's just like, Christ, this is so disingenuous. Do you not realize how disingenuous you seem? Like,
it's weird how like instantaneously you can pick up on that kind of behavior as well. Like as soon as I can meet certain people that are like either like part of the cast or crew of like these productions we've been in, and like instantly I know they're putting on a face to be as like nice and as agreeable as possible to make my life as easy as possible, or their lives easy as possible, because there's no friction. And it's like, I know you're being disingenuous and I don't trust you anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their opinions don't suddenly seem like they're worth anything. It's just like you're just being nice for nice.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's
No,
but
like,
it's just like you're right. It's just like just be
no
real for a
depth
second.
there.
Like come on, take a step out and just say what you really fucking think. I think this
Make
is
a joke at the situation you're in. Like it's ridiculous, right? That you're filming us three, like fucking idiots from England doing YouTube. Don't treat this so seriously. It's like talent on set.
All right, we're gonna be talent
traveling,
bringing the talent.
Holy fuck, I'm moving. Oh my. Yeah, like it's like I am moving. I'm moving through the space. Look at me move. Like, I'm an absolute idiot.
They're traveling.
Tried to jump over a stool in my science class in secondary school and just completely fucked it up and clattered it. And like, just, I'm an idiot. There's nothing graceful or important about me coming through a set. Just, I don't want to break your cameras. Is pretty much what I'm worried. I don't want to step on a cable and owe somebody 80 grand. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
This man that you're passing the waves for, he'd rather piss himself than shit himself for half an hour.
Yeah. Just so you know, we actually thought about this on the way.
You know what? We've discussed this, believe it or not.
We've really, what do they call it? Going at it hammer and nails, where you're like, we really fleshed it out. We got a nice structure, framework, context, scenarios. We got a whole framework of when and if it's best to piss yourself or shit yourself. So if you'd like to talk about that after you finish measuring the level of light bouncing off my pasty, blotchy forehead, that would be great.
How do we keep diffusing this light?
I keep thinking of the nugget thing, where we were basically doing that for the cast, the crew. We were just thought that'd be quite funny because they're laughing about it and like they're
really dig in,
just being serious in this role of like filming a bunch of like YouTubers just racing around a go-kart. We were actually trying to get a bit of humor into the situation rather than taking it so seriously, because it's dumb.
It was dumb. And like the whole production is like
fun as well, right?
It was fun,
and fun because like that's what you want to share with them. You're like you don't want them to feel as though it's a job. Like you want them to just be like, this is fun. This is just like, like I hope you're enjoying this. Like
also, thankfully, like the other guys we met there kind of really enjoyed us just fucking about as well.
Hopefully, or maybe they were just so good at manipulating us into thinking that Trott. They're just better than the other people we've encountered that we've called out. There's always that line, right?
You're
like
right.
We have. We have this sensitivity to it to an extent, but some people might just be even better at manipulating us than we are.
It's like those fucking guys with that nugget guy, I fucking hate them. Jesus Christ.
That guy took it line and sinker though. They've come away thinking we're friends. We're not friends. Yeah.
They do like literally the smile. Fuck them. Fuck them. Turning around. Anyway, that's gone off topic a little bit.
But I think if I had to choose them, I guess I would still go for the have everything you ever wanted, because I think that the traumatizing fact of pressing the restart button, I'd rather not. Just laziness, really. Yeah. Even though you can create a path, sure, but again, you're still rolling the dice on something that could be completely different.
I really feel like
I feel quite a lucky.
Would that change though if you knew that the restart would be at the end of your life rather than now?
It's like a reincarnation scenario, but you keep
yeah. Because like I feel I know what you're saying. Like,
I feel like I'd rather not remember like the people I've lost and stuff. I'd rather restart and kind of if I was restarting, I'd rather not know. I think that's best, because then
that's reincarnation.
Enjoy life. That is reincarnation, but I think I'd rather start again and not have to. I don't know.
With the context of it happening.
What if it was a crazy death as well, and you remember that?
Oh my god, yeah, I was torn apart over hours.
Yeah.
No, I think with the context of it happening at the end of your life, I would go for the second life, even if I remembered everything else, because for me personally, I think that would be a whole new experience, and that's more important to me. I think personally, I think I would get more out of it. I think if you gave me everything I ever wanted right now, it would make me happier for a little while, but then
sour you.
I would just be sort of, or the inverse might happen, where there's so much to do. Like imagine it, like for example, everything I ever wanted. If this was the case, I would have a light aircraft that I knew how to fly. You know, I would have a cabin in the mountains that I could do crazy shit in. You know, like all these amazing things. I don't think I'd have enough time to do all the things that I want to do. You know, like the all you ever wanted for me wouldn't. You know, I'd just be every day. I'd be like, there isn't enough time in the day. I think I'd stress myself out because I mean, like, I'm not experiencing all of it that I could.
You can really exploit the question, though. You can really exploit it. Everything you ever wanted. I would like more time, please. I would like another life, please, and not remember the original one. Yeah. I would like
exactly. You're explaining the question to that point. I think we're just grounding in the fact that it's within the life you currently have, and that's you know. But we can really extrapolate on.
I want to extend the current life I have.
Yeah.
And be at the seat of power in a multi-galactic.
So.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean, fair enough. I think that the bureaucracy in politics would just take up too much time. I will say that.
I'll be the guy that pushes the button to end the clang. The clangers, then.
The clangers. You want to? He's back to the clangers.
I'll just be the guy that pushes the button and nukes them.
Stop nuking the clangers, Trott. They don't deserve it. They just
I'm not the guy that made the decision.
Like...
I'm just the
you
push button guy.
You approved the decision, Trott. Oh, you just want to push the buttons now. You don't even want to be like the leader. You just want to be a weapons operator.
I don't want to be accountable.
I just like the feeling. I don't want to be accountable, but I like the feeling of doing it. Wow, you really are the worst of the worst, aren't you? Jesus Christ.
Make it so.
Oh my God.
This is about me. Pleasure. This is everything I ever wanted. Doesn't say everything I ever wanted that would make you happy, unless that is all I ever wanted was to maintain happiness.
Yeah. I want to be happy.
Yeah. But I mean, that is it, though, isn't it? That's all there is, really. In life.
Some people want stuff that it doesn't necessarily make them happy. They think it might make them happy.
Some people strive for happiness.
Sorry, I mean the pursuit of happiness is ultimately like the only real thing that people try to do.
It's find it in different ways, yeah. But
yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm not saying there's bad ways to find happiness. Like if you
what
can
about
find
serial
happiness,
killer? What happiness?
Yeah, there is bad ways.
People?
Well, this is it, isn't it, Ross? And that opens the whole book to That's
that was what Trott's everything he ever wanted was.
Everything I ever wanted was
basically just be a really efficient gravedigger.
I want to be the highest kill count serial killer.
Really good at picking.
He wants, but he does it. He's done it by becoming the weapons.
Kill count.
He's become the weapons operator.
But
this is perfect though, Trott. This all feeds in because you become the weapons operator on an intergalactic star destroyer, right? So you get to kill every single day, and your lust for killing has been satiated by the fact that you've just wiped out a whole city that day. You're like, no, I'm the most prolific serial killer there's ever been.
Something tells me he wants to see their eyes though at the time, so I feel like that's more of a
really powerful cameras.
That's like the equivalent of going to Syria but using a remote control from some base in England.
Exactly.
Oh, set some bombs off. Yeah, I killed some people today. Clocking off. Going home to my family. Like that's a very different scenario. Whereas Trott, I feel like Trott would want to be holding a Bowie knife.
You think so? I think you're putting knives.
He's nodding. He's nodding.
I want to breathe in their last breath.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ!
Yes.
So horrible.
Jesus Christ, it's dark, but it's certainly a great start to like a series or something.
What of killing?
Just killing.
Loads of fucking crime films out there.
Oh, I see what you mean. A TV show.
Well, it'll be a series of killings, but
it's like a series of what?
Like where he always breathes in their last breath, and that gives him life. There's a supernatural element to it.
What would we call it?
But it's
Dementor Man.
Dioxide.
Carbon dioxide.
So shit.
CO2.
That's a real B movie.
Christopher.
It's a B movie, yeah. Okay.
The C stands for Chris. CO2.
CO2.
Oh my God.
You might be able to see him, but he can see CO2.
God, that's awful.
Yeah, it was full of it.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
I mean, that does happen, though, isn't it? People who like making this shit end up making terrible, spoofy stuff. Again, this is what they were doing.
This
in
is my
Always
magnum
Sunny.
opus.
The Always Sunny podcast. Again, we're referencing it, but it's really great. And they're talking.
If you're listening, wasting time listening to this.
Stop
really
listening to this. Switch
on.
over and go listen to the Always Sunny. But they're talking about that
really
where they before they made the show together, they would just make like stupid videos of like things that they never really intended to show to anyone else. And yeah. That's where I guess those ideas. I'm not saying we do make. I'm not saying we do make CO2 Man or whatever the name was. What were we going to call it?
It's going to be CO2.
CO2 was the name.
Is
it like SEEOHTWO?
Not only destroying the climate. I don't know. There could be a climate reference in there, maybe.
Methane's way worse than CO2 as well.
Oh, is it really?
Okay. Yeah. So there could be an.
Maybe there could be a farting
who's a
element.
fart
man. He's what's it called? No, not jelking. Jelking's where you stretch your penis. Jenking is Jenkum something different, but no, it's munting.
Oh,
where you push on their debody's organs.
You brought this up a lot recently.
What is it? Like, what comes up in your search history?
The guy who wants to suck in the last breath of his dying victims is concerned about me.
That's less gross than munting.
What is munting to you? What happens with munting? Explain it.
No.
Dead person.
No.
You push on their stomach, and then they breathe out. And what happens?
Don't make us talk about it, Ross.
That's exactly
just because you want to talk about it.
It's got to be called the Munter. The TV series is the Munter. Nothing to do with CO2. We won't mention CO2.
Mind Munter?
Mind Munter. Munter Hunter. Or Munter Hunter.
Work in progress.
It's a work. We'll workshop the idea. We'll get it out. We'll throw it to Netflix.
We'll do a pilot.
Yeah, and then when we do a series that fails terribly, it'll drop. They'll drop it like Bebop.
Yep.
They dropped that.
Oh, they did. Yeah, I didn't even see it. I'll tell you what is good. The new episode. I was watching the new episode of The Wheel of Time earlier. I haven't watched all of it yet. It's very good.
3 episodes so far.
It gets a lot better. It's really picking up now, and I'm like, damn, this is actually really well written. There's some good dialogue. So
I'm watching For All Mankind. Is that the one you mentioned?
Yeah. Do you like that?
It's really slow, and then they put something really fucking interesting at the end, and they don't focus on it until the end of the next episode, and that annoys me because I don't give a shit about some of their personal lives. I really don't. I want to hit. They've got some really interesting stuff going on the moon, and I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they don't focus on it. It's like 2 different series in one. It's like, really, just go over to that part. They don't give a shit about their wives at home.
It speeds up because
I'm on
the first season is like. You're on episode 9 now. Season 2 will make you happier, I think.
And if you don't like season 2, season 3.
I don't think there's a season 3.
When it really kicks up.
Yeah, the moon stuff is really interesting. I like that.
And the quality of the space stuff is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that the quality of the production of when they're doing everything to do with the spacesuits, this is a TV show. Like, come on, like the amount of rigging and work it took to even simulate this like 10 years ago is mad.
Talking of TV shows, have you seen the new thing?
What?
Well, I'll tell you what it is after this ad break. Oh, God, what a tease, eh? What a tease. I guess I should tell you what it is now, even if you didn't have an ad. The Halo TV show that's coming in 2022. A teaser came out at the Games Awards.
Right. Peter Jackson's one, or is it
I don't think it is anymore.
He did like a demo, didn't he?
He did a test footage, like with a real warthog and stuff. I don't know if they managed to acquire those props and stuff, but this looks pretty good from the teaser I saw.
Nice,
pretty solid. I mean, it's very little to go on, but it had the at the end, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm sold.
Yeah, I think it could make quite a good series. So I'm guessing what they're going to be up against the Flood kind of idea against the.
It's the classic Master Chief, not the new stuff. The original story, I think. Seems to me.
It reminds me a little of sort of Avatar. You know, like in terms of its style and look from the teaser trailer. Anyway. Like there's a scene right at the start where there's like a big group of people running across a big aircraft hangar, and it's very reminiscent of Avatar's kind of scale and approach to.
It looks pretty big.
graphical style.
Is it live
Yeah.
action or CGI?
Live action.
Live action, but it
Right,
uses
okay.
looks like it
It's
relies
gonna have a
quite
lot of CG in
heavily
it. Yeah.
on
Of course,
CGI. In the same way that maybe the Mandalorian did. Like I don't. Well, not in the exact same way. Obviously, not using the giant screens. It might do, but yeah, just looks like it's a very heavy CGI. I mean, most things do now, right? Most shows have heavy CGI presences, like just mixed in.
I feel like a lot of shows have this kind of squeaky CG look nowadays, where it's almost like too crisp and too refined, to the point of like it's very obvious that everything here is a set extension or has been CG replaced in some fashion. It's become
I got that vibe from Wheel of Time, but then it's a TV series, so you kind of like
you can't
accept
fault
that there's not going to be a perfect like this, like obviously sky replacement and stuff is always quite amazing, and it's just oh yeah, that looks really cool, but like also I can see the edge work on those mountains.
I feel like
so like
we've been conditioned now to like we've seen it so often now, we notice it immediately, and it's getting harder and harder for them to fool us when it's like not real.
But then there's stuff like June, which actually was really impressive, just really impressive.
Unreal.
What happened
The
in that one?
vibrations of the sound and things like that. Like
in June, lots happened in
Sandy.
June.
Oh yeah,
what's so special about it?
Dune, Dune, Dune. Yeah, I think that they just got scale right. It looked really fucking cool. Like this giant behemoth rising from the sand, and then the sand particles all raining. It's just like that kind of thing. I feel like would have taken a fucking age to render, but it looked amazing, and it came out really great.
Denis Villeneuve. He's got a really good artistic eye for like what just looks good as a shot. He's got like the I've gone blank. The 2001 Space Odyssey director.
Wait, Kubrick? Was that
Stanley Kubrick? He's got
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick vibes, whereas like every shot is a painting, and is just beautiful in some way, and it's just really well thought out, and looks larger than life all the time.
Yeah.
Like you can watch 2001 and still be like blown away by holy shit. There's just so much scale here, and it looks really good.
They use models, right?
Yeah.
So once again, they've got like that real vibe, which really helps.
Dune does a lot of practical.
And it just looks so cool.
It just knows when to use it and when not to. Like I think there's a lot of practical elements that like the focus, and then everything else you don't notice is CG. They do it right, I think. I think there's a hybrid there that works really well. You can go
I think
down
in the future we need to use miniatures for something.
Yes.
Just for the fun of it. Just
If they tried
being like, that's a miniature. That's not. It's not CG. We made that. That's cool.
What about if we replaced the main cast with miniatures?
Fucking hell.
We just did loads of macro shots. That would be really tough to pull off and look realistic.
Yeah. It would be like a really low rent Aardman animation.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, just a crap stop motion.
Yeah.
All
But you can put us in a scenario. We can put us in a Lego world. Just using a simple green screen.
And we can get Chris Pratt to play all three of us.
We can. Yeah. There'll be enough voice lines that he's probably said.
Oh, hey!
Recreate every single phrase wherever. Yeah.
Shall we...
So this next hypothetical, by the way.
Oh, you want to do
the
that
second one?
Yeah.
You want to do that, or do you want to do some? How much time have we been through? Let's very quick do this.
Sure.
So, what would your life look like if you were born 50 years before your time? So, 50 years before 1988 is 1938, which is when Hitler marched into Austria. However, that's when you were born. So, we were born during World War II. However, we don't turn 16, which I'd say is like a good marker for like relevancy. You have more control over your life at 16, I suppose. 1954, that would be. So we would
need to look to your grandparents and kind of assume what they did is kind of a similar path to what you would do, where you'd buy a house for £1,000 back then, and then sit on it for 50 years until it's worth 300,000.
We'd be in the midst of rationing and the Depression, right? Because it's very soon after World War II, which ended in 1945.
Would we have been sent out to the countryside like bed knobs and broomsticks?
I don't
know. We probably would have already been born in the countryside, because we were all from sort of semi-rural areas. So I don't know where around Swindon how much bombing they had, but
I mean, have you seen it today? It looks like it happened last week.
it looks like it could do with some.
Christ. It could do with a good bombing.
Just for the sake of
yeah.
Now we can start fresh, guys. There's something we can do here.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of. I mean, my grandparents had a pretty good life. My granddad worked pretty hard. He used to cycle from Yeovil to near Dartmouth every day.
Oh my God. Every day.
Like 50 miles each way or something ridiculous.
Insane. Calf muscles must have been insane.
2 hours, 11 minutes. That's 88 miles.
Yeah. He did that every day apparently. Well, no, he didn't go to Dartmouth. He went down into Devon. Devon daily. He used to cycle like 60 miles daily.
That's still 50 miles. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big.
Which took him a few hours. But anyway,
50 miles cycle every day. That's 100 miles a day.
I know. It's nuts. He did
crazy.
He did this, right?
There were no cameras back then.
He could have been making it up. I don't know.
I'd like to see
I went to Devon. Yeah, Devon.
Yeah, Devon.
Every day.
How far is it? 50 miles.
50.
But yeah, it's. I mean, you can go quite far on a bike. I think people underestimate like a road bike. I mean, obviously modern road bikes even more so, but just like a bike that's designed to do miles on, you can do quite a few in a day. Anyway, that's beside the point. They did all right. You're right that buying a house wasn't very expensive. I think it was harder. There was less social security.
Well, I mean, it's a case of it was just it wasn't expensive now, obviously, but at the time it's still a substantial amount of money. But yeah, it's still you're buying a house, and if you said to them then, oh yeah, this is going to turn into 300k, by the way. In
sit on this
a long time
but
away.
Then
that's like saying now. That's like saying saying that now.
Oh, fucking hell, Gran. Got a bit of money in your pocket now, have you? You're 90. Doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah. Oh, well invested. Whatever. So go spend your money now. Enjoy it.
It suddenly becomes a great inheritance to the grandkids. That's all you really give. So,
but it's just saying £1,000 to think that most phones now are close to £1,000. It's like you bought a house.
Yeah. Well, of course.
It is completely relative. So,
it's hard
Inflation.
to say, but
it's just extreme at the moment. Like houses are definitely not anywhere near the values that
it's against the working wage, right? The minimum wage is what the disparity is. Like how far the pound could stretch back then versus now, or like what things cost and how much you earn is very different.
Yeah. How much was a Freddo back then? Do you think?
Nothing.
Not even a penny.
Just a smile. Cost a smile is what it cost.
There's a Freddo.
Find out when Freddos were invented.
Yeah, I want the Freddo timescale because I feel like that's the inflation we need to work with. Because they used to be 10p when I was
1930.
5p, sorry, 5p. No, were they 5p? No, they were 10p.
They were 5p.
They were once. Yeah.
That's some quality Freddo.
I know.
Freddo.
You know they changed the dairy milk recipe. Did we talk about this?
You did talk about that. Not
the dairy milk chocolate recipe changed when Kraft Foods bought dairy milk. Bought Cadbury.
When did this happen?
They changed the recipe. I think it was about 10 years ago, maybe.
See, I got dairy milk advent calendar, and it still says it was made with milk.
So this apparently is a distinction. This might not be wrong. Fact check me. Might not be right. Sorry. So it used to be a glass and a half of milk in every bar, right? That was their thing about dairy milk chocolate bars, a glass and a half of milk because that's how much milk content it had or whatever. Now it just says a glass and a half in every one because they're not saying that there's necessarily milk in the bar, but they're saying that it's almost like an emotive thing now. Like, so everyone's got a glass and a half of them, but they can't say it for whatever reason because the recipe changed. That might be bullshit, but so please do verify that because I can't be bothered.
Do you know what might dissuade people from thinking that's an appealing idea is maybe a TV advert of maybe a zoom in close up of like an udder being squeezed into just like a bowl of chocolate. And you got a glass and a half, and you just see it. Like that's when suddenly the image of milk suddenly becomes a bit more visceral. Let's add to it. Now there's a grown man suckling on one of those udders and then spitting it into the chocolate. That is an image that I think would put me off the chocolate.
You could do that for any food, Ross.
You could do any food, but we're talking about milk from the udder.
Right.
Now,
It's
just when I think there's certain things that you could do to really put people off.
Oh, you could, yeah.
If you want to get people off of meat, let's film the advert at the abattoir.
You can't put off Generation
That's an interesting
Z,
concept.
or not. Wait, Gen Xers. You can't put us off when we were conditioned at a young age to be like, milk is good for you. Milk is really good for you. Good calcium for the bones. Have a glass
It's
of milk.
enjoyable as well, isn't
Go
it?
on.
Like that milk is a
It is
great
enjoyable.
ingredient in many things. You know, a bowl of cereal's nice.
We're trying
Cup
to
of
get
tea
into
with
big
milk,
aren't
nice.
we? We're not working. It's not working.
Straight from the other, though. It's good. It's good shit.
Yeah, but I was watching Gogglebox last night, and they were watching. This is becoming one of those things that they were watching a show where that Dominic guy, you know, like, oh, my name's Dominic so and so, and I'll get stuff done. Have you seen that bloke?
I might have done. I probably did. Is he Paul?
Yes.
But
he's not Greg Wallace.
Didn't help me.
Same energy as Greg Wallace, but it's not Greg Wallace. And he goes to a milking parlour to see how it's done. I mean, fair play. He's very keen. He's very up for it. He doesn't complain. I'm not necessarily judging him as a person, but he's quite a larger-than-life character. Anyway, he goes in the milking parlour. He's in it. He's doing the milking, and just like you say, they're hooking up all the pumps. Like there are these little like suckers you have to put onto the cows inside the milking parlour.
Yeah, and they're huge, giant.
Yeah. And you're right. Like the zooming right in on the camera and like seeing like this big old stinky cow, this big old just getting like with these machines going. You're like, fucking hell, yeah. Drinking cow milk is pretty strange.
Yeah. And everyone there is all just like, I don't even have it pasteurized. I have it straight from the source.
Tell you what,
brings bucket to mouth.
I mean, you joke. My friend was a dairy farmer, and we used to have unpasteurized milk like every day, and it tastes amazing. It tastes so much better. And I was always like, why do your teas taste like kind of really different? He's like, oh, it's just because it's like it's essentially straight from the cow. And I was just like, nice.
Bit of cow shit in there.
But the funny thing was, this Dominic guy was like getting all involved in it, and then the cow just shit all over him, and like he had like shit over the back of his neck, shit all over his ears, all over his back, and he just turned to like say like, "Oh, this is going really well," and the cow just lets go behind him, and he's like, "Oh," and it's like it's an instant coating of like heavy shit, like it's like oh, and then the farmers that are with him are like, "Oh my god, they never do that normally," and he's got it like in his ear. It's hilarious.
This is so embarrassing. Quick, let's spray him down with some of this milk here.
We just use milk instead of water. It's just so plentiful.
Fucking cow fluids all over him.
Washing the car with milk.
Yeah. Did you look at the prices of Freddo? I've got a little list here from 1994.
Go on.
Okay.
Do you have the same? I'm guessing Freddo relaunches in the UK priced at 10p in 94.
10p.
2007, it was hiked to 15p.
Unbelievable.
So it stayed 10p for a long time until 2007. And obviously that's what, I mean, we were at school throughout those years. So we enjoyed the 10p Freddos like it was nothing.
It's actually technically 2005 and it was raised by 2p a year.
Oh, shit.
2016
really
selling price
abbreviating
25p.
Freddo's been doing a better job of keeping ahead of inflation than the UK government has.
Yeah. Well, 2010 they hiked it to 17p.
Yeah.
2011, just 1 year later, it crept up to 20p. In 2014, fans are incensed when the cost rises again to 25p a bar. And then 2017, there's widespread outrage when Freddo's become 30 pence.
I was part of that outrage.
I was outraged. 30p.
30p.
You might as well just get a different chocolate bar. They aren't cheap.
At this point, Freddos aren't cheap.
Yeah. And then 2018, Cadbury slashes the price to appease fans, and a bar costs 25p again. What does it cost today? That's 2018.
Probably still around there.
But you know why they could slash it? Because they changed the recipe of the chocolate to make it cheaper.
Of course. Well, there you go. This is the
25p.
It wasn't to
can
appease
confirm.
anyone. I love the way that people think they have any kind of real power on anything like this. It's like, well, I tweeted about it. Like sometimes I stop myself tweeting these days where I'm just like, there's just no point in me saying this. Like this is not going to change anything. Because you know, like, can you imagine like we hear the assembled council of Freddo price regulators, you know, like who the fuck cares if they're incensed? You know, we are outraged. We've sent a letter to Downing Street. We've said that Freddos should remain below the working wage limit. It's just like nobody cares. They'll charge whatever you guys will pay for them. That's it. That's all that's ever going to happen.
Well, I found a Freddo index. There's an index here. It compares it with how inflation should have risen. So 2020, Freddos were 27 pence. And with inflation, that should technically be 17p based on its original price in the year 2000.
See, that still sounds like a cheap bit. I remember thinking it was cheap when I used to get a caramel Freddo even more because,
dear God, you lavish bastard.
I know. I'm getting the treat both caramel and chocolate for like 50p.
They were great.
Like.
Remember, I bought that box of Freddos from Costco. And I think it was just ages to get through them. But I was like, the luxury of having like an entire treasure trove,
a storefront of Freddos.
Wow, it's a tasty little treat every now and then. That is nice.
Hell yeah!
That was so much chocolate. If I'd eaten that much chocolate, my skin would be like. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love chocolate. It's delicious. But I like even now, like I've been eating a lot of shit this week. We've had burgers twice in a row, and straight away my skin just starts going bad.
Oh yeah.
And in a way, I'm happy because we had
the plant burger.
I had the Muck Plant, which was all right. I don't like mayo and burgers.
Muck Plant doesn't sound like a good burger name.
No, I don't think so either.
It makes me think of a power plant rather than an actual plant first. I don't know why.
Plant.
Sounds kind of clinical to me.
No, I just think of like a squash dandelion in a BAMP.
Yeah. Also, there's like so many plants that you can't eat as well. Like you said, like you have a vegetable patch, not a plant patch, right? Like you buy plants, you have house plants and vegetable patches. Like, come on, but they've clearly polled it. I mean, it's McDonald's. They have insane amounts of research.
What about the name Burger?
A burger is awful. That sounds really bad.
Do you think that came up in the board?
Burger.
I would be the guy who goes, hey, what about burger? Like veggie burger?
It's veggie and it's burger.
No?
Oh my God. Can you get this guy out of the fucking survey pool? Last week he suggested for the McDonald's.
Is that our only two options? McPlan
the same
and
dude
burger?
that last week suggested we call all of our trucks Trucky trucks.
This guy needs to go. He shouldn't be in this room.
He's throwing off all our metrics. Or the burgie. What's a burgie? Burgie or a beggy? Come on, what's your best? So you've come up with a burger, Trot. What would be your best suggestion for the McDonald's plant burger? This is like a free viral marketing ad for them.
He needs to beat McPlant.
Come on, Trot. This should be easy.
I was just trying to think of something smart with photosynthesis, but
Well, you think of like some of their brand, like Big Mac. That's such a clean Big Mac. I go, you know where to get that from. But McPlant doesn't sound. I just find it doesn't sell the idea of eating a vegetarian burger to me.
No,
I feel like they could definitely work hard on that. I mean, my idea was terrible as well. Burger isn't. I don't think anyone should use.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
It is hard. It's tricky.
McVeg sounds like you're just getting veg. Like, it does sound like you're just like getting vegetables in a burger. A plugger. There we go.
Plugger.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe they could just try and rebrand like the VB.
Yeah.
The Big V.
The Big V.
Yeah.
That's virginity, isn't it?
It does sound like, but you could turn that into your marketing. You could be like, oh, we didn't know, and then that's funny.
Have you lost your Big V?
You're gonna go grab a Big V. Yeah, you know it. And then it sounds actually quite pervy.
It is a bit pervy, but it's gonna sex sells. It really does.
I ate the Big V.
Whoa.
You did. Oh, you old dog.
Oh, I'm stuffed. I had a Big V before I came here.
You did what? Get out of here.
I had two.
Brand meeting.
2 and 1. Nice. Big V.
Should we get to funny news? Should we find some
let's do a quick one. Yeah.
Wax through
some. So much I wanted to say last week that we didn't have time for.
Go on then.
Oh, it was this one. Okay, so I'll read this one out to you. Passenger claims woman breastfed cat on board flight.
What?
Passenger allegedly made a desperate plea to flight crew after spotting a person engaging in a gross act with her pet cat. Because most pet owners will go to great lengths to care for their pets. When it comes to people and their pets, the question often isn't what you do for them, but what you wouldn't do. For one American airline passenger, the latter doesn't seem to include breastfeeding. A screenshot has gone viral of what looks like a pilot messaging system that suggests a passenger on Delta Air flight DL1360, look it up, to Atlanta, began breastfeeding her cat and refused to stop despite repeated requests from the crew. The message reads, Pax passenger in seat 13A is breastfeeding a cat and will not put cat back in its carrier when FA attendant requested, the pilot requested Delta's Redcoat ground team meet the customer after landing to reprimand her. According to an online source, the carrier was contacted for comment to confirm whether the incident took place. Delta has tightened regulations regarding emotional support animals over the last few years after experiencing an 84% increase in incidents. And that's obviously not all breastfeeding. I mean,
what's wrong with breastfeeding?
Breastfeeding,
here you go. I'm going to become the defense lawyer for this woman. Okay, right. What's wrong with privately? Well, not even privately. What's wrong with breastfeeding this cat?
All right, so your nipples out on a flight.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily, because you can. I guess you can. Use
why is it unnecessary?
Does a cat need milk to sustain them? Is there a medical condition?
We don't know.
This is where it comes into we don't know.
Let's know.
I feel like is there ever a normal situation where a human should be using their breast to feed a cat outside of the plane? This is not. We don't even involve the plane in this situation. The plane thing is a different place.
Yeah.
You are outside of your home with your cat, which sure, that's nice to have your cat outside. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone walk a cat. You see it sometimes on Twitter. Someone's like, "Oh, I've been walking my cat."
Thankfully, not seen one breastfed either.
No.
But the breastfeeding thing would really throw you off.
Would you like angrily tell someone like that, or would you just be like, "This is crazy"? I feel like there's different approaches, isn't there?
It would be a kind of like you'd side eye it. You'd be like,
yeah,
because you're trying to measure. Yeah. You're trying to really establish what you just saw.
Yeah,
you've seen in the corner of your eye, someone's got a cat really close to their chest. Like, oh, they're probably just giving it a cuddle. That's fine. Wait, hang on.
Personally, I think it's funny, kind of strange. I'd ask them not to do it again, but then I would just let them get on with their day. I mean, like,
well, I wouldn't.
If they stood up at the front and went, "Look, everybody, I've got a cat sucking on my titty," I'd be like, that's indecent. You're forcing people to like look at you. But if you're quietly in the corner,
like a bestiality kind of like category, because obviously you are engaging in obviously there's feeding involved, but like it's not normal feeding. You're not.
Was the animal in distress?
If you're feeding your child, go ahead, 100%. Do that where you need to do it at all times, because I don't think there's any problem that I think it's terrible when someone's like, "You shouldn't breastfeed in public, it's unnatural." It's like no. In fact, I think it's the most natural thing you probably do with a child.
Yeah, I still do.
Unless you're a dude and you don't lactate, that is weird. Don't do that. But a cat, I just don't think a cat should be suckling on the nipple of someone who is also lactating.
Well, that's
such a 2021 perspective on things.
Yeah, it's me who has the problem.
That's fine. I would say personally, I would be like, a lot of people are going to find this unusual. You need, and we'd ask you not to do it on our planes. Yeah. However, I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem with it as this person seemed to have had.
Getting all fussy though, and like meowing.
Let's get some milk. Milk, please.
Like really, and it's like pouring, and it's like pounding its paws.
Yeah, how
everyone come apart of it because of the sounds. You're like, look, I was going to ignore this, but now I'm seeing and hearing a cat desperately pine for human milk from the breast. It's like that's a step beyond.
Maybe the person breastfeeding the cat was the emotional. Maybe the cat was famous, and the person breastfeeding it was the emotional support animal for the cat. Did we even ask that, Your Honor?
The passenger of the plane,
right?
And the human in this scenario is the pet. Is that what you're saying? And then so they're feeding the cat out of a necessity to keep the cat happy because it's
it's getting fussy. It's getting fussy. It's been needing the boob, and she's all right.
Yeah,
gets the boob out. And
so fussy.
No, I don't have a huge problem with somebody breastfeeding a cat on a plane. I don't like being on planes anyway.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't go up to him. All right. I think regardless of my thoughts on seeing a human breastfeeding cat, I still wouldn't approach them because you don't know what they're up for doing at that stage.
Why do you not like people?
I just feel like you can't
fear the deviant.
They could do anything. They've just breastfed a cat. They could. Who knows?
They could be mad, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to imagine they walk around with some knitting needles at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Just to bide their time while they're breastfeeding their cat.
How about you, Trott? Do you think that? What do you think about this?
It's all pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Like that, but you understand that weird isn't enough of a justification to do anything about it. Like, what would you do? Like, what would you?
I'd agree with Ross.
Would you do anything?
And say it's unnecessary to be breastfeeding human milk to a cat. And I feel like that is something that the humans made a choice to do because they prefer to do it to their cat rather than the normal, regular thing, which is probably nutritionally more beneficial for the cat to actually have cat-based products for them to consume whilst on a flight.
A glass of champagne.
I think they should be a bit more aware of their situation that they're in.
But all right, Your Honor. So fair enough. But you can't tell. You didn't ask Mochi if she wanted to be owned by you. You're saying that there needs to be consent. Saying that an animal needs to consent to anything. I agree that there should be lines in terms of suffering of animals. There already is laws.
I didn't talk about suffering at all.
No, well, exactly. So we don't know if the cat is indeed enjoying this and needs the milk because maybe it's got low calcium.
I'm just saying it's probably more nutritionally beneficial for them to not have human breast milk. Whether they like it or not.
Unfortunately, my client didn't have that, and the cat was becoming fussy as a passenger on the opposite side of the aisle.
You're making shit up. You're making shit up.
Yeah.
Well, none of us were there, so we can't be sure. I moved to.
Can we consult a vet? Because I've found an article here which says that apparently cats don't really. Milk is never that good for them. It's not necessarily a thing that they need. You know, there's always like a scene where they put cream or milk down. It's it's not necessarily a good thing for them.
Yeah,
I can give them a really bad tum-tum.
Yes. It can. It certainly can.
Yeah, but it's a strange scenario to be in, and I wouldn't approach them. I'd certainly discuss it afterwards and be like, "Wow, did you see what happened over there? That's pretty fucking strange."
It would be muttered
and then move on with my day.
That was fucked up.
People are moving to disbar me, so I'm actually going to have to go and
he's losing his life.
Fight that case.
Okay. No more cat law for you.
Yeah, I'm out of the cat law world. I thought I could really make a difference.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
allow more breastfeeding of animals in public.
This guy,
Randy, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, buddy. We'll get there.
He's either close to the source or he's on the source. Get him out of here. Right, well, I think that's probably all we've got time for. That's the cat. Yep. That's some cat news for you. Hope you enjoyed that, as well as our discussion about the costs of Freddo, which should shock all of you to the core.
Disgusting.
More than the cat thing.
More so the People's Price lobby, that exists for Freddo is the council, the High Council of Freddo pricemen and women. Yeah.
I believe they are frog people. So.
They call themselves frog.
The Freddermen.
The Freddermen.
The Freddermen, yes,
nice.
Of course. They are, in fact. And they're cloaked as well. Cloaked frogs. Frog people. It's an impressive event to witness when you get the chance. No cats allowed.
No cats.
No.
Hey, thanks for listening today. Also, if you're paying for this for some reason with our Patreon, even bigger thanks, like a full uppercase thanks. If you go to patreon.com/hatfilms, you can get this podcast without the really intrusive ad right in the middle there. God, that's annoying, isn't it? Why do we keep doing that? I don't know. Pays the bills. Thank you for bearing with them. And you also get to choose the hypothetical as well, which spun off some interesting discussion this week. And so you get to kind of shape the Hat Chat for next week if you sign up. So we really appreciate it. Thank you. Also, huge shout out to Andrew Vaughan for sending in a fingal. And if you'd like to send in a fingal at the start and end of our Hat Chat, please send it to our email, hatchat@hat-films.com. That's com. And that's
nice. It. Yeah.
Any final words?
No, I think that's everything. Thank you very much for listening.
If you're looking for representation in your recent cat breastfeeding case, get in touch.
Okay, that's all we've got time for.
He's looking for work now. That's the thing.
alsmithy@catnip.com.
There. How did you get that domain?
Multiple meetings.
Christ. Should get an email off that domain. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week. Goodbye, everybody. Enjoy the full fingal by Andrew Vaughan.
Bye.
Bye.